Hello, beautiful souls. Today we'll be looking at the lunar cycle that begins with the new moon on February 27th in Pisces and ending with the last quarter moon in Capricorn on March 22nd. Along the way, we're going to be looking at a few prevalent energies like the Mercury Retrograde and the spring equinox on March 20th. My name is Amanda. I'm the owner of T Phases and also the author of Intuitivity. Thank you for joining me today. So before we got started, I kind of meditated on this new cycle, and I pulled a few cards that kind of set the stage for what we're going to be discussing and to support us today. Well, I pulled the King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. And so the King of Swords represents mental clarity, decisiveness, and truth. He urges you to stay objective, cut through distractions, and make wise long-term choices. The Queen of Pentacles embodies abundance, stability, and self-care. She reminds you to stay grounded, nurture what you're building, and trust that consistency leads to success. So what I really love this is that we're starting with balance right away. So we have the Queen and King, and I think this is really going to come in play with the first quarter moon and the last quarter, but we'll get there. Okay, so let's get started. So I mentioned in the beginning that I am the author of Intuitivity. So I wrote this back in 2018. I've been using this tool forever, and so we're going to be using this today. All right, so you will see the cloth up here, and I am going to be using these two dice. So the white tea dice is masculine energy. The black tea dice is divine feminine. So we have external action, we have internal action. We have taking decisive action steps with the white tea. And then with the black tea dice, we have shadow work. So this is something very personal to you, something internal that doesn't involve anybody else. So what's fun about this is that for this particular reading and for energy reports in the future, this dice, the masculine dice, is going to be representing the new moon. So wherever this lands, we're going to be talking about the new moon and the supportive energies attached to that. This is going to be the full moon energy in all her majesty, the divine feminine, and we're going to be talking about the supportive energies with that. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to put both of them in my hands, kind of going back and forth with them. Okay, starting to balance. Okay, all right. Okay, so what you're going to see is that we have the divine feminine energy that landed in the white tea quadrant. We have the white tea divine masculine energy that landed in the black tea quadrant that is connected to the full moon. So we have actually the direct opposite energy happening here. So with the new moon, we're going to be talking about introspection. We're going to be talking about intuition. We're going to be talking about setting intentions, planning, and it's all going to be very personal. So this is actually quite beautiful because it's really in tune with the new moon in Pisces. So this is beautiful. We have the full moon in the black tea quadrant with the white tea dice. So this is going to be about taking action. So when we're going to release and let something go, we're actually going to be taking a physical step forward. Okay, so let's talk about that. With the new moon in Pisces on February 27th, it's going to be a deeply intuitive and dreamy new moon. Speaking from a fellow Pisces, it's going to encourage emotional renewal, creativity, spiritual connection, It's going to influence our intentions, and it's going to amplify our intuition, healing, and artistic pursuits. Our emotions may be really heightened, and then I would not be surprised if you're more connected to your dreams. You might want to keep a dream journal next to you on your nightstand and be able to jot anything down that stands out to you. So that is a tip there. So let's jump right in. I am going to read from Intuitivity. So we're going to talk about the guidance of the white T quadrant. I find that when I read this to you, there might be something that stands out to you that I say, and that may help you in your particular situation or understanding the energy that's currently surrounding you. So with the new moon, we're setting intentions, we're making plans to start something new, we're opening ourselves up to opportunity, new dreams, making our dreams reality. And so it's just the beginning. This is the seed of an idea. So it's very exciting. And I love that we're in the Pisces energy with this. So you have been given a gift, a birth of a new cycle or idea. It feels as gentle as a whispering wind or disarming as a tornado. Take the next few days to meditate on the newness in your life. Do not make hard and fast decisions, but instead relax. Think deeply, focusing the mind on your next steps. What's nice about this is that also with the Piscean energy is that there is a call to rest, relax, and reset, which is actually really key when we talk about the Mercury Retrograde. So heads up. Okay, so with the white tea, you'll see that the black tea dice landed on air affinity. So we're going to go ahead and read that symbol together. Allow this ocean of air to guide you and wave continuously through you. Air reminds us that there is much more to this world than what we can see. Furthermore, it teaches us to allow room for change as the world does. What I was thinking, or what I got, was if you ever see like angel numbers and things like that, there's a lot of chatter with that about things working behind the scenes. And so that was kind of the energy that I was getting, was that things are kind of happening behind the scenes. So right now we're setting an intention, we're planting that seed. We want to build something, we're planning that conversation, maybe we're going to apply to that job. But right now it's really exciting, but right now it's just a dream. It's just something that we're kind of in right now, and that's cool. It's nice to kind of be in this space. And I really feel like with the air affinity, it's saying that things are working behind the scenes. So as soon as we make a decision that we're going to be going in a particular direction, or we're kind of thinking about it, we may have some synchronicities that kind of match up with that. So be on the lookout for that. The black tea dice has its own divinatory guidance whatever quadrant that it lands in. So I'm going to read that to you now. Allow this new energy to swirl and wrap itself around you. Breathe in new ideas and shed any doubt. This is really powerful. I think that doubt unfortunately creeps in early. Anytime that we want to start something new, we're just like, oh, we're so excited, and then all of a sudden there's this doubt. And it creeps in, and it can shut you down in the beginning. And I think this is a gentle reminder that don't let that dampen your dreams. Right now, it's just being in the energy of what is, what could be. And allowing doubt to creep in so early can be really hurtful, and it can be damaging in the long run. You might put a stop on something, and then later on you're like, oh shoot, if I would have just listened to myself, if I would have believed in myself, trusted my intuition, I could have been so much further today, potentially so much further today. So I would really reflect on that. I think that's beautiful. And marrying that with since we pulled the King of Swords, this very authoritative figure, this masculine energy, which is so in tune with the masculine energy of the new moon, which is basically with the new moon in shadow, it is asking you to step out and shine. So versus the full moon where it is illuminated, it is illuminating something in your life, allowing you to reflect on something that needs to be released. So it's a different kind of energy. So the new moon kind of stands behind you and says, it's your turn to shine. And so that's when things come up to the surface. This is very exciting. And I think that the King of Swords is kind of coming out and amplifying this energy for us today. Okay, let's move on. So I want to talk about the next, which is going to be the kind of positing. Isn't that interesting? Making up words today. So we have the first quarter moon that's going to be coming up on March 6th. This is going to be in Gemini, right? So we have that beautifully balanced energy. So just like the cards that we had pulled with the King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is connected to earth energy, relationships and jobs and abundance, money. And so she is the queen of that. And I really feel her energy when we get to the green tea quadrant that you'll see there. So green tea is about taking that physical step forward after we've set an intention. So right now, I'm kind of allowing myself to slow down there and breathe in that air affinity that we got in with the new moon. This is a time of action, momentum, building, overcoming initial obstacles, and conversations and ideas will be key. So I think that that is kind of like what we was talking about with the new moon, kind of planning that conversation. So with the first quarter in Gemini, that supports that energy. So if that speaks to you, if there's a conversation that needs to happen, I'd be really thinking about that right now. What's coming to mind is a pros and cons list. Interesting. I was going to talk about that much later, but it's coming in now. So if this is speaking to you, I would have a think about which way could this go? If I come at it from this angle, how will the response be potentially? Okay, so if I come at it from this angle over here, will I have a better balanced viewer perspective? That is just coming to mind right now. There's a heavy influence of conversation. And there's also a call to balance logic with intuition. So again, marrying that energy of the first quarter moon, so the half and half, the divine feminine, divine masculine, kind of stepping forward with balance. So when we do take an action step after we set an intention, so again, this is a first quarter in Gemini on March 6th. So within that week, taking an action step forward, you're physically stepping forward with your divine masculine. The divine feminine then supports you with kind of a check-in, a mindfulness check-in, saying, hey, does this support me? I think a lot of times when we take an action step, we don't always check in with ourselves. And that is the beauty of the first quarter moon. That is the beauty of being in alignment when you're on a manifestation journey. Okay, so we talked about the setting an intention, taking a first action step, and now we're going to move on to the full moon. And that is where the white tea dice landed. The full moon in Libra on March 13th. So as you'll see, the white tea dice landed in the black tea quadrant. It did not land on any symbol. So I think before I jump ahead, let's go ahead and read the quadrant guidance together. The process has been long, but also necessary. Combine your gain, knowledge, and intuition to seek the whole truth. By doing so, you will find true wisdom, yin and yang. What stood out to me was the combine your gain knowledge and intuition. So before we were talking about the Gemini energy, and it was that balance of logic and intuition. And wow. So I think that that is a genuine synchronicity that you should be paying attention to. I want to jump into, before I say any more, into the divinatory guidance of the dice itself within the black tea quadrant. So the white tea dice is saying, feel the influx of energy around you, igniting a spark of inspiration within you. Let go, follow the flow, and lose yourself in your work. I think this is really beautiful because we're going to be talking soon about the Mercury Retrograde. And if you've heard anything about the Mercury Retrograde, it can slow things down, which can be really frustrating, especially when you have such a dreamy moon to begin with in a lunar cycle, and you're very excited and you want to take an action step and everything feels really great, and then all of a sudden you're being asked to kind of slow down and ground. So rather than looking at this from a negative perspective, this is asking us, because it is a black tea quadrant and it's usually a time, so it's a time for releasing what no longer serves. That is what the full moon represents. It kind of shines a light on the area in our lives that allows us to be like, oh, okay, that's where I need to be reflecting on. What do I need to release within my life? That kind of relates to what's going on under this full moon and this energy. And that is going to be Libra. And it ties into the Mercury Retrograde, which begins on March 14th, meaning anything revealed during this full moon could be revisited later. Okay, so I've been feel called to kind of take a deep breath throughout this time. You may have noticed that. I just noticed that. So you might want to work on that kind of anytime that you might be up what you perceive as a roadblock. Because when we're fired about something and we want to take action, last thing we want to do is slow down. Last thing we want to do is do introspection work and maybe think about, so why, or have a think about why am I asking to be slowed down, and to potentially take a deep breath, center yourself, and say, okay, this is a blessing. This is a blessing because I'm getting extra time to set my plan in motion. I'm getting extra time to take this dreamy opportunity and really methodically think about how I want this to come to fruition. And I really see how this is all going to play out coming up with the last quarter moon in Capricorn. So, excuse me. Let go, follow the flow, and lose yourself in your work. So you don't want to lose sight of where you are and everything that you have accomplished up to this point, because you have been able to potentially take an action step before Mercury Retrograde came in and said, whoa. We're going to slow it down just a little bit, okay? So really think about what you've been able to accomplish thus far. So again, that's full moon energy. Take a deep breath, let it go, and then come back into planning again. So that white tea dice kind of asking you to kind of look at the plan thus far. It's cool. You know, this idea is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to hurt anything in the long run if there's a little bit of a pause. Totally fine. So let me set this down here. And so I kind of love that energy with the white tea dice kind of showing up and not really landing on anything else, but having a straightforward answer. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Mercury Retrograde. It is happening on March 14th through April 6th. It's a time of reflection, assessment, and slowing down, as I've mentioned before. Mercury in Pisces heightens intuition. So again, I would really keep that journaling, that journal next to you on your nightstand, and pay attention to your dreams, also synchronicities, anything that is coming up during the entire lunar cycle. So it's kind of pausing and thinking about that because I just had a show this weekend, and the night before we're asked to kind of come in and set up our table and everything. So then the following morning we can come in and kind of relax a little bit. It's not so tense. And as I had parked and then pulled out, parked and then got out of my vehicle, I found a penny. And every time I see a penny, I say, oh, there's a penny. I pick it up and all day I'll have good luck. And it was really cool. And I kept that penny with me, and I kept that energy with me as I was putting out my display. So that kind of came to me as I was talking, because we're talking about intuition, tapping into the energies, the synchronicities, the messages from our guides that might be coming through. Okay, so let's talk about the not so popular side of the Mercury retrograde, and that happens to do with delays and miscommunications, tech issues, so computers or vehicle problems, or if you're being asked to sign anything, a new contract, or you're being invited to start a new position, something like that, you definitely want to, this is where I was going to bring up the pros and cons list, which is to kind of step back and again, doing that breath work that's going to be prevalent this entire month. And with that is having patience for yourself and allowing those delays to happen. So the Pisces and New Moon is reminding me that Pisces is also about release and renewal as well. It's connected to the divine and to spirituality. And if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty darn spiritual and connected to yourself and very curious about the world around you. And that's very Piscean. So this is a good time for reviewing, for tying up any loose ends before starting something fresh. And so you definitely have some time to do that under the full moon. And so have grace and have patience with yourself if there happens to be any delays. It's going to happen. Just know that. Have some self-belief. And again, with the new moon energy coming in here with the white tea dice, shedding any doubt. Just because something is delayed doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Okay, so I want to talk about the spring equinox. I get very excited about the spring equinox every year. The new moon is my favorite cycle, and it's tied to the spring. So it's all about, again, new beginnings, and it's a powerful moment for reset. So this is the astrological new year, and as the sun enters Aries, bringing renewal, courage, and forward momentum, it helps us initiate fresh goals. So I would say that with the spring equinox, this is also giving us an opportunity to look at the plan. What's our objective? And with grace saying, okay, so maybe if I would have stepped forward and taken an additional step here, or had that conversation, I may not have seen this other opportunity. I may not have had a perspective that I do now. And I think that with the spring equinox is definitely going to help bring in that supportive energy and that careful planning before acting. Okay, let's jump into the last quarter moon, and then we're going to wrap everything up. Okay, so the last quarter moon in Capricorn, I've been kind of talking about that as well. So I want to bring up these cards again because it beautifully, as we talked about in the beginning, the King of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. So the king and queen. So coming into balance again, we have the first quarter moon, which is kind of leading with your divine masculine and being supported by the divine feminine. After the full moon, we move into the last quarter, where we take one additional step before coming into balance. And here we are leading with the divine feminine and being supported by the divine masculine. So I kind of want to show you those cards again. So this is a moment of realignment, reassessment, and responsibility. Capricorn energy asks us to get serious about our long-term goals. Lots of serious energy this month, but this is really important. Anytime that you're setting an intention, you don't want to be lofty about it. And I think with this under energy coming in, it really helps to balance that Piscean kind of head in the clouds energy. Being a Pisces, I get that. I have big ideas all the time. I have so many journals. I have journals that are for every day, for dreams, and just for ideas. And then I'm always writing those in there. And so that is a way for me, and this is a message for you, to kind of ground those ideas, to be able to reference them again. So you might want to start a new journal about ideas. And maybe the intention that you had, if you have a manifestation journal already, you can kind of reflect on that and to be able to track the idea that you had and how it evolved and how it changed. So under the last quarter moon in Capricorn, we're going to be coming to balance, as I said before, but we're going to be coming to balance. I pause because I want to say with a reality check, because that is very Capricorn, but with loving intention, because it's about wise decisions over impulsive actions. So you may have some challenges this month. The Mercury Retrograde that goes till April 6th is going to be a kind of slowing things down, potentially putting a pause on things. And so there's going to be strategy in your method this month when you're starting a new idea or continuing on a project that you started the previous month. So there is that too. So there's some final takeaways that I want to talk about. So this is a highly transformative month, without a doubt. There's a lot of energy that's going on with the dreaminess of the Piscean energy, and then we're ending with Capricorn's reality check. Mercury Retrograde is going to slow things down, but as we talked about, that is a gift. And it helps us to ensure that ideas and decisions are well thought out. I think that's going to be really important for all of us. I'm definitely taking this message to heart as well. So I hope that you feel the love and the intention that's coming through in this reading in this month. I hope that you feel the potential within yourself to create something and to see the grace. And I've been talking about this before, but the grace that you're going to have to show yourself and the patience that you'll have for yourself to allow this to unfold as it does, because it's going to force you potentially to slow down. But that's okay. We're going to find the gift. There's going to be a gift in here. It has been my joy to read for you today. I hope that you found value in this. And down below, you will find a link to my newsletter. So if you want to sign up for that, you'll get notification of videos. You can also subscribe to this channel to get notified. And in the newsletter, I go a little bit deeper into the energy of the full moon and the new moon. And then also share some journaling in there that you can do, and then also some tarot pulls. So I'll put that down below. There's also a link to my shop, Tea Phases. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me today. Tea blessings to you.